is good, YouTube? What is good, YouTube? Welcome into the show once again, Last Word Productions. Your host, Tavares Wilson, always get the last word. So it was cut down Tuesday, this past Tuesday. Miami Dolphins officially now had a 53-man roster. And we could look at the roster right now in the depth chart. We're gonna go through that throughout this episode, but before we get started, man, I want to shout out to those who are tuning in to the show right now, wherever, however you listening to it, whether it's on, you feel me, YouTube or Facebook. Appreciate you for being here. And just introduce my man Larry. What's up, my boy?
Yo, you feel me? I was about to come in and say, dang, I don't get no introduction, but my dog remembered. So shout out to bro.
I can't forget that. But yeah, so let's jump into it, man. Before we get into the cuts, matter of fact, before we get into the depth chart, let's get into the cuts. I think that'll be a little bit better. So officially from the 27th, that was Tuesday. They had to be down to 53 people on the roster by 4 o'clock, I believe, and a lot of people got the short end of the stick that really I didn't think was going to get it. But let's go through some of the names real quick. So you got David Nne, Jaquan Burton, Jordan Colbert, Eric Izukama, Robert Cooper, Mike Harley, Chasen Hines, guys like that. But let's get into some of these notable names. Neville Gilmore was one of them that got cut.
Oh, Neville Gallimore got cut?
Gallimore, yeah.
Wow, that I ain't know. I legit didn't know that.
Neville Gallimore got cut. Nick Needham got cut. A guy who's been a kind of a unspoken hero for this team and was a good undrafted free agent for them. Chris Brooks was waived as well. Braylon Sanders was also waived. Curtis Bolton, despite the fact that he had a pretty good preseason, he was cut as well. And the other one that was somewhat surprising to me, in my personal opinion, was Blake Ferguson, the long snapper, getting cut. But there's a rumor saying that he was cut for the sake of trying to fill up cap space, and they're going to re-sign him again. I'm not sure how true
they re-signed him.
Okay, so
he got re-signed 6 hours ago because we replaced Patrick Morris on IR.
Oh, okay, cool. So then that's a whole nother story. But let's talk about, before we get into the PvP list, let's talk about the player who you thought was the most surprising who got cut. Who do you think was the most surprising? Like, what really caught your attention?
Man, this is one of the first 5 names you said. And, I was trying to get like the full list so I don't mess up.
All right, hold on. Let me go through it. So we're gonna name all of them. It's David Nne, cool. Jaquan Burton. These are all the people that cut the 27th. Jordan Colbert, Robert Cooper, Eric Izukama, Mike Harley, Chasen Hines, Xander Horvat, Daquan Jackson, Jadon Janke, Isaiah Johnson, Matthew Jones, Jason Mutry, Byron Matos, receiver, Kyrick McGowan, Leonard Payne, Mark Perry, Hayden Russi, Chris Brooks was waived and he was put on IR.
I mean, just to cut you off, like, I'm kind of surprised that the Gallimore cut because we just signed him, so that means that I'm surprised because I didn't hear really anything about him having like a bad camp. So that means that everyone else just had to been playing just up, and just was able to basically just beat him out and show that we are worried about youth and familiarity with the defensive line play. So, but I was still kind of shocked because why sign him in the offseason, Like, I know we didn't sign him in the offseason to see if he could compete for the job. I thought we would sign somebody because we know for a fact that they would be having a job. So that one kind of surprised me.
Right.
And outside of that, I'm not really too shocked at anything else. I know Chris Brooks had, he had a season in the ACL tear. So I know they're trying to like gradually bring him back along. And we, from a running back perspective, we have a full group. So I'm not really too shocked there. But I am glad to hear that he's back on the practice squad. And honestly, I'm not really too shocked at really anything else. Maybe Eric E, because I feel like Eric E did show glimpses in the first 2 years of his career.
Right.
But, I think those are my 3 surprises, if I was to answer your question.
Well, the biggest surprise for me, honestly, is Eric Ekwukama. I thought he showed a lot in the preseason. I thought he showed more than Malik Washington, Taj Washington. I mean, Odell has showed you quite literally nothing. So I thought, especially with all the injuries to the receiver room, I thought he would have been someone who would have been safe. But the only reason I think he wasn't safe is because he's been an injury concern his entire career. He's hurt again. And I know that they said he is going to be placed on the practice squad, but I think that means he's just good as gone. Because I think once he's healthy and once people are actually patient with him, a team is going to take a chance on him because the talent, he has talent. The talent
he
is
definitely
there.
does, yeah.
So I think once the moment he hits the practice squad, I think the team is going to take their chances with Eric Eaton. I truly believe that. So for me, he was the biggest disappointment. Not disappointment. He was the biggest surprise. So, but if I had to name someone else for the sake of naming them, I think Curtis Bolton is another one that was a big shocker for me, man. This was a guy that played pretty damn well in the preseason. I thought he showed more this preseason than we've seen from Channing Tindall since he's been in the uniform. He covered well. He played sideline to sideline, pretty solid. You'll like to see him be a little bit fundamentally more sound tackling. But other than that, I mean, this is a guy who I thought had a legit shot to make the roster, but that wasn't the case. So now let's get into the guys who was placed on the PUP list. And let's also get into the guys that was placed on the IR list. So the PUP, we're going to start off with this. We got Odell Beckham, who, again, has yet to even practice with the team. But, you can post on Instagram all day. But, hey, that's another story. Got Odell Beckham. Got Bradley Chubb, who we all foreseen. Got Cameron Good, who, again, we all foreseen. You got Isaiah Wynn, again, another guy who I said before, I don't know. I'm going to get into that after this. And Isaiah Wynn. And for IR, River Craycraft, receiver, linebacker Riot Ray, and cornerback Cam Smith was all placed on IR. But Cam Smith and River Craycraft,
they're on short term IR.
Yeah, they just did to return. So what are your thoughts on some of these players on the PUP list? And more specifically, because I want to hear your thoughts on the Odell Beckham news. What are your thoughts about that?
Man, honestly, if I were to answer honestly, man, it kind of sucks to know that we're holding down a roster spot for Odell Beckham, and he hasn't even ran as much as a hitch route. Like, he's caught in a few like practice balls with pause on that, but with the position coaches and with the backup quarterbacks and everything, but he hasn't even ran a route in a Miami uniform. It's like we're holding down spare parts. And I hate to think of Odell like that, especially with how he started his career and how unfortunate his career has gone since being in the league and since he first departed the Giants, but it's just we need to know that we have someone capable, ready, and on the field, not just a social media persona, you know. And that's just me being real. And I would just love to see something coming of that situation rather than, like you said, posting on social media, posting on Instagram, things of that nature. So I just want to see something from a guy who we feel as if could come in and, you know, produce on a high level. So, like I said, it just sucks to see that that's not the case right now. Hopefully something does change and something comes to pass. But yeah, man, I just want to see us doing something.
Yeah.
With him. I want to see him come out and do something with the team.
Right. And here's what I will say about the Odell Beckham situation. And I've said this already and I'll say it again, man. I genuinely did not see the improvement of Odell Beckham over Cedric Wilson. I just didn't see it. And I know a lot of people are going to say that, oh, I'm saying that because hello, you can hear me?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, okay, I was just making sure. I know a lot of people saying that because, you know, I was a Cedric Wilson guy. I thought Cedric Wilson was a guy that was given the short end of the stick. He wasn't necessarily given the best opportunity to excel and show what he could potentially do. Because I think a lot of people forget Cedric Wilson was brought in here to be the second receiver until the Chiefs made Tyreek Hill available out of nowhere. So now that pushed him to the third receiver, and the offense completely changed. So it was hard for him to find touches when you're having two guys on your roster who are both going to account for 100+ targets a season, and Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Like it's not going to happen. So the expectation that he could have been any better than what he truly was, maybe he could have been slightly better, maybe he could have played a better game here and there, maybe. But to expect him to be drastically better and put up 700-800 yards receiving when he's getting 2 targets, 3 targets a game is fucking insane to believe that that should be the case. And it's not because the talent or the play wasn't there. It was because the scheme wasn't there. He didn't get the opportunities. Now, maybe you could sit here and say the coaches didn't feel as if he was good enough. Maybe you could say that. But I just disagree with that. And if good enough is Odell Beckham, who has yet to even play a damn snap for you, who last season was a walking injury with the Ravens and completely a shell of himself, then what are we doing? Because at the end of the day, the best ability is availability. And he has yet to play a snap with the team, let alone a preseason game. I'm talking about a snap in practice. The man hasn't done it. So I'm confused on how do they think this is going to work. And I'm confused on what made them even believe this would have been a good signing. Because he was hurt coming in when you signed him. Mm-hmm. So I'm confused on why was this a move that was so detrimental to make if he won't even play the first season of the damn season. I mean, first month of the season, excuse me. Like it just doesn't make sense to me. At that point, they should have went out and got a younger guy. They should have kept Cedric Wilson something. They could have done something else. But you bringing in Odell Beckham for regardless of whatever money, it did not help you. Because, again, he has yet to even play a damn snap. He has yet to play a down. He's yet to play a snap. Hell, he's yet to even take first-team reps. So it's like, what did we really sign him for? Just for the make newspapers? To create storylines? I don't understand. Mm-hmm. So that's frustrating from that standpoint. And the other thing I wanted to speak on in regards to is the situation that's evolving around, the situation that's evolving around Bradley Chubb and Jalen Phillips. I know a lot of people want to see these two get back into the nick of things because they are worried about Chop Robinson defending the run or his development, him and Mo Kamara, how they're going to look, stuff like that. I think people got to be patient with them, man. Like it's not going to happen overnight. These are two guys who have an injury history going back to Bradley Chubb early in his career, going back to Jalen Phillips back in college. They have to be patient with these guys. Jalen Phillips has been cleared to play. He will be on a snap count. But at the end of the day, I said this before, I said it again, man. I know the talent is there with the man, but I got to see it get all pieced together, and it has not been pieced together yet. That's my biggest issue with Jalen Phillips. I haven't seen the dominant season from him yet that a lot of people said that he will eventually have. I haven't seen the games where he's just taking over a game. I haven't seen the moments consistently enough to say that I think he's ascending to that next level. I got to see it, man, because I know he's up for a contract soon. Got to see it. It can't extend guys on talent. We've seen how that works for a lot of teams and a lot of players. It don't pan out a lot of times. So I got to see it. So with that being said, though, is there anything else you want to add about any of the injuries, any of the players, stuff like that?
I know you said that Jalen Phillips is going to be on a snap count and everything. So do you think that maybe Muhammad Kamara will come in and make an impact immediately? Do you think that maybe we should go out and try to look for a veteran presence? Like, what do you believe that the direction should be when it comes to the pass rush? Because we can't just come out there expecting two rookies to come and just immediately make impacts, even though that's why you drafted a Chop Robinson that high, a Muhammad Kamara in the third, fourth round. That's what you get them for, but at the same time, you can't expect them to just come out and just make that drastic of an impact immediately. So what do you think the direction would be on a defensive line?
I think the direction is, honestly, man, I think you got to get healthy. And I think you have to be able to coach up the young guys. Let's just call it what it is. You're not going to go get anyone that's going to be better than what you have on the roster from a talent perspective right now. You're just not. I mean, if someone out there was that good, they wouldn't be at home right now. So I think this is where coaching is going to have to be shown and come in place. Can they coach up the young guys to play sustainable downs and sustainable drives and actually be productive? Because when we look at the preseason games, yeah, they both showed flashes, but one thing I noticed about Chop Robinson, and I said this to you when we drafted him, I was worried about whether or not he could set the edge and play the run, and damn it, is it looking bad from what I've seen and from what reports say. Muhammad Kamara, I think he can set the edge a little better, but how good is he of a pass rusher? Like he's like the old saying go, the old trickster, I believe it's saying is good at many talents, but a master of none.
Yeah, it's just a jack of all trades.
Jack of all trades, exactly. So it's a little that's he's falling in that category because that's what he is. And when you watch him play in the preseason games, he doesn't have any definitive pass rush move that he go to where he could beat a guy more often than not. He doesn't have that. So I'm a little concerned about the front seven in terms of the pass rush ability. I won't lie. I think that's a bit of a concern for me, more so than I thought it would be, because again, Jalen Phillips will be on the snap count. There's no telling how much you could get out of him. Bradley Chubb, ain't no telling when he'll come back. So I don't know. And another player that I'm starting to get worried about as well is I'm starting to get worried about Cam Smith, man. And I know a lot of Dolphin fans blamed a lot on Vic Fangio for what Cam Smith has been or what he is at this point. At some point, man, we have to stop making excuses for players, man. We have to. And I get it. Sometimes coaching does impact the players to the point where it can deter their play and growth. And I get he's hurt. But when I watch Cam Smith play, when I watched him play in the preseason, he made a few good plays, but he also seems to be lost sometimes. Like his eyes are in the backfield too much. Like he's not necessarily playing the receiver; he's playing the quarterback eyes almost, and that's not good. And the reason why it's not good is because we're in a league where these quarterbacks are born playmakers. They're going to deceive you with their eyes. They're going to pump fake you out with a move, whatever the case may be, and they're going to beat you over the top. The receivers and quarterbacks tandems we have in the league now are just too damn good to be trying to gamble on every pass now. Unless you're elite at it, like Xavier Howard was at one point, then you can get away with it. But Cam Smith has not proven he's that. So I need him to be a little bit more disciplined with his technique and his eyes. But I gotta see more, man. And it's not helping that he's hurt to start this season. So we gotta see. It's just a little more I gotta see out of Cam Smith, man. But let's get off into the depth chart. So this is the official depth chart after all the moves that transpired. So we're gonna start on the offensive side of the ball. We got Tyreek Hill as your one. Other two across from him is Jalen Waddle, of course. Braxton Berrios is backing up Tyreek Hill. River Craycraft is backing up Jalen Waddle, but we know he's hurt. And then we got Anthony Schwartz. It says here, but this must not be updated because I could have sworn he was cut too. So we're just gonna go off of this right now. Then we got left tackle. We got Teron Armstead, Patrick Paul. Left guard, you got Robert Jones. Again, Isaiah Wynn is on the physical unable to perform. Center, you got Aaron Brewer and Andrew Meyer. There's a lot of speculation saying Aaron Brewer might not play the first game due to the hand injury he has. We shall see. Right guard, Liam Eichenberg. Then you got Lester Cotton, who's basically a swing guard at this point. Austin Jackson is your right tackle. Behind him, you got Kendall Lamb and Byron Matos. I believe he was cut, though. Durham Smythe is your starting tight end. Jonnu Smith is your second string, and Julian Hill is behind them, too. Alec Ingold is your starting fullback. Raheem Mostert is your starter. Behind him is Devon Achane, Jeff Wilson, second string, and Jalen Wright, third. Tua, your starting quarterback. Skylar Thompson is the second string. And they also added Tim Boyle. So before we get into anything else, what do you think about the Tim Boyle move? Did that move anything for you at all?
Not really. I really look at it as a depth piece. For a team who has previous issues with quarterbacks, staying healthy. I don't really see it much as nothing more than that. And I don't really think that he's going to give – like, if Skylar Thompson was to come – like, he came out and beat out Mike White for the backup role, then I can't really give Tim Boyle any – I can't really look at him as if he's going to give Skylar Thompson a legit competition. I can't see that he's going to be comp for him. I think that he went out there, he actually earned that backup role. He's already trusted. We had him in the playoff game. He performed in the playoff game for us. So I kind of see Skylar Thompson just as, the backup guy, which is nothing wrong with it because, like I said, it's not like we haven't had previous hiccups and scares in our past with the Miami Dolphins at the quarterback position. So it was interesting to see that we did sign Tim Boyle, but I think I'm pretty dead set on the fact that Skylar Thompson will be our legit second string quarterback.
What do you think about them exploring the option of Tyler Huntley? Like, he was released from.
I saw he was released by Cleveland. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
What do you think about them possibly pursuing that? Because I think personally he's better than both of them.
I
Personally,
mean, yeah. I mean, you could definitely make a case for um Tyler Huntley being better than the both of them because again, playoff experience. He's come from a type of offense where it was very run dominant, and for him to come in and could possibly bring in any form of um any form of a weapon of like the running, because I always like quarterbacks who was able to get out the pocket, make a play with their legs, make a play on the run. Tua is definitely more of a stagnant style type quarterback. Sit in the pocket, make an accurate throw, and to potentially have Tyler Huntley come into the fray and just open up a different form of an offense would be very cool. So I am not opposed to the idea. I really do think that he could come in and do something very special. And in the sense of who's better from the three, of course, Tyler Huntley. We seen Tyler Huntley come in a week 17, week 18 game and just come and dot everything up.
mm-hmm.
So I would definitely take Tyler Huntley over the both of those guys. It's more so one like it's more so like in Tyler, not Tyler, Skylar Thompson more because of again familiarity. He's been in the system 3 years now.
Yeah.
He's been in a playoff game. He's almost beaten Josh Allen, lost by 3 to those guys. So
Well,
it's
let's
just
not give him too much credit.
yeah.
He was
I'm not
terrible that
gonna.
game. He was terrible. The defense played out of their mind.
I give him a little credit because he did. We was driving on them. We could have beat them. So. But again, like you said, he wasn't the best. But what do you really expect out of a rookie 7th-round pick quarterback who got to
No,
come
no,
in?
that's what I'm saying. Like I'm not discrediting him per se, but bad play is bad
Excuse me.
play.
Yeah.
Like no other way to describe it. But I mean, I agree with all the things you said. Let me just say this, man. Because I seen a comment on my TikTok about my Odell video. Let me just say this about Odell, man, because I think a lot of people are still living in 2016 and they're not facing the reality of what Odell is now. And the reality is, Odell Beckham is done. He's cooked. I've said this already. I didn't want to say it again because he's a Dolphin now, and I want to try to be a little lenient towards the players on my team, but I got to call a spade because for whatever reason, people still believe there's something there. I don't believe that. I think Odell is done. I don't think there's a glimmer of hope that Odell will ever once again be what he was. Not even with the Giants. I'm talking about with the Rams when he actually played a pretty damn decent amount of games and put together a couple of good games and good moments. I don't think that's there anymore. I think he can have his spurts where he can give you a play or two every now and then, and that's about it. But him being a consistent, reliable option to throw the ball to each and every game, I think that's done. I think that's a pipe dream at this point. So I'm tired of people making it seem as if it's crazy to believe Odell Beckham is cooked when he showed us for the last 2 years he is. Like that's what he is. He was a literal ghost for majority of the season with the Ravens, and he hardly even played half the snaps a game. The man is done. I don't get why people can't accept that. He's done.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's crazy because I get it, man. He's a fan favorite. People love him. You know, the Instagram post, the swag, the drip. You know, the way you dress, carry yourself, the confidence. I understand it, man. You know, you want to root for him and see him do well, but we gotta be realistic at the end of the day. And realistically, Odell has showed us nothing the last 2 years for me to sit here and believe he's going to come in and be any better than what Cedric Wilson or what Trent Sherfield has been for us when they were here. And he hasn't shown us anything to prove he will be better than that. But it just doesn't make sense to me, man. That's all I want to say about that. You got anything else you want to say?
Yeah, I mean, I want to keep, like you said, there's no shot and everything like that, but I want to keep a glimmer of hope just to be, as, how can I say, just not to oppose what you say, just to be more hopeful into what he can do for the team. I do want to feel as if he could come in and give some type of oomph to the offense, some type of excitement, some form of excitement. And I really do feel as if this doesn't pan out with Odell Beckham, that it needs to be, it might be time to question a few roster moves that the team has done in the past couple of years, because there's a chance that you could go out there and get a plethora of other talent, and you settle for a guy who's not only in his 30s but who's been shown to be injury prone, and you decided to bring him in on a deal that's not really cheap in the sense of vet minimum, so I do feel as if there needs to be questions that needs to be answered in that regards from either the general manager standpoint, head coach standpoint, even owner standpoint. So I really would be interested to see how that all goes.
Yeah, man. I mean, look, this how I look at it, man. This how I look at it. I look at it from the perspective of, if Odell was still, hold on. If Odell was still the Odell that we all once loved and wanted to see on our team and be in the uniform, Odell never would have left the Rams. He never would have went a year without being on the team. Hell, he never would have left the Ravens, because the Ravens receiving room is not good. I don't think people realize that. He left a bad receiving room. They didn't want him back. That's how bad he was. Like, outside of Zay Flowers, what else do you got there? Nelson Aguilar? I mean, what are we talking about? So I don't think people realize what Odell really is at this point. And what he is a veteran who's past his days. And that's okay to say. I just think people got to be a bit more realistic when we talk about these things about these people. Like, this is who he is at this point. And again, that's okay, because Father Time is undefeated. Everyone has a day. Every single person has a day. It's okay. So I just think it's crazy that people even believe Odell has a chance to come in and just be this 800, 900-yard receiver, put up 5-6 touchdowns. I'm like, have we been watching the same dude? Like, it's not him anymore. It's not him. And it's just crazy to me, man. But let's get off into the rest of the roster. So in terms of the offense, we went through the starters. Does anything surprise you in the slightest about who's starting and who's bench, whatever the case may be?
Not really. I kind of expected this group. Honestly, I expected this group to be the starting lineup.
So you thought Life was going to start?
Honestly, man. All right, then you know what? I'm gonna retract. I am surprised that Jonnu Smith isn't starting, but it's the reason why I don't hold that to a high degree, in a sense, is only because I know he's gonna come in on certain formations, certain plays, and I think that what we're really trying to do is just be a team that establishes the run immediately in an offense. And I think we're trying to change up how we operate in that sense, because we wouldn't have brought in another running back. I feel as if, like, to be honest with you, I don't think we would have brought in another running back if it wasn't to come and establish some form of a dynamic run style versus and trying to disguise and operate in a different tone in the offense. So Durham Smythe starting, even though I did say a bunch of times during the pod that I feel as if we needed a dynamic style tight end. And I've said that multiple times. You can attest to it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, I guess they just like what Durham Smythe does a little bit more in the sense of blocking and getting in space to come and defend against linebackers and anything. I don't know. I'm trying to make light of it because I really don't understand it. So I do take it back. I do feel kind of confused in that sense on why they would want to bring him in just to have somebody else starting. So
Yeah, I get you. I get you because I've said this before, man. I don't think Durham Smythe is that great of a run blocker to be sitting here continuously starting him over guys who are 20 times the better pass catcher he is, or better dynamic threat down the field or across the middle that he is. I'm not saying that to say Durham Smythe's a bad player, because he's really not. He is just what he is. You're getting from him. He's going to catch. He got secure hands, reliable hands. He's going to catch the ball, but after he catches the ball, that's it. He ain't going to give you anything after the catch. He isn't going to create constant separation. He isn't going to win one-on-ones a lot of times. That's just who he is, and that's okay. It's jobs in the league for him, obviously, but to be a starter over Jonnu Smith, a guy who, in my opinion, is the much, much better receiving threat. He may not be the run blocker Durham Smythe is, but he's not bad at run blocking. So it just doesn't make sense why he isn't your clear-cut starter, in my personal opinion. Because it's not like he'll be a Mike Gesicki kind of guy where he can't block at all. That's not what Jonnu Smith is. Jonnu Smith is. I'm not saying he's a great blocker, but is he serviceable? Can he block nickels and safeties, which you'll probably be asking most of your tight ends to be blocking? Yeah, I think he could do that. So it's kind of crazy to me.
very understandable. It is kind of, like you said, it is kind of crazy to think that he's not starting. I don't know, man. That's kind of crazy to think about, honestly.
Yeah, it is. But let's get off into the defense, man. Let's see how we feel about this side of the ball. So, D tackle, first string, you got Zach Sealer. Behind him, you got Jonathan Harris. Next D tackle, Benito Jones. Behind him, you got Brandon Peely. Next defensive tackle, Calais Campbell. Behind him, Deshaun Hand. So those are your three official starters at defensive tackle: Zach Sealer, Benito Jones, Calais Campbell. And the three I named are backing those guys up respectively. Excuse me. Outside linebacker, we got Jalen Phillips, Quentin Bell. So Jalen Phillips is official on the depth chart. I don't know if that means he'll come out and be your starter per se, but he is on it. David Long Jr. is your starting inside linebacker. Anthony Walker Jr. is backing him up. Other linebacker, Jordan Brooks, he's backed up by Duke Riley, and that's one guy who, for the life of God, I can't understand why he keeps the job, but I guess outside linebacker Emmanuel Ogba is starting. Chalk Robinson is backing him up. And then behind Chalk Robinson, you got Muhammad Kamara. Cornerbacks, Jalen Ramsey, Kendall Fuller, two starters. And backing those two is Cam Smith and Ethan Bonner. as well as Storm Duck and Seren Neal as the third string corners.
Mm-hmm.
Your nickel is Kato Kohu, and I'm not sure who the backup will be now because Nick Needham was cut. Safety, Javon Holland, Jordan Poirier, two starters. And behind those two, you got Elijah Campbell and Marcus May. So out of all of those names and all those guys, who surprises you? What surprises you? And
I won't say that I'm surprised in quotes, in quotations, but I am happy and excited to see Ethan Bonner come in and make some plays because Tyreek has been gassing this man up for the past 2 years. He's faster. Yeah. He's potentially faster than me. He's the second or third fastest person on the team. So I do want to come in. I do want to, just shout out Ethan Bonner right there and say that I am excited to see the guy play. I'm not too shocked at anything per se, but I do want to address like we've been talking about Cam. I just bit my tongue. I just do want to address Cam Smith because I do feel as if this is, I don't want to say make it break it, but this is definitely what the hell are we going to do with you?
Right.
Because there's no way we could sit here and just beat around the bush with this guy any longer. It has to be now. We gave you enough time to develop, just like you said, he's been playing too much in the backfield rather than playing the routes that's in front of him and doing what the receiver is telling him to do within the defensive scheme. So I do need to see Cam Smith improve a lot more. I do want to see what he does in this what he does do on the defensive side of the ball. And I do think that I want to really see what the linebacker room is going to look like, what the linebacker group is going to look like on the field. It's interesting, to be honest with you, because just hearing that, is David Long, of course, he more than likely was going to be the starter, but what are you going to do everywhere else, Like, what is it going to look like everywhere else? Is Anthony Walker going to start? Is it going to be Jordan Brooks? Are they going to completely be rotating with David Long? Are we going to sub out David Long at times and then put in those two? What are we going to do with our pass rushing linebackers and how are they going to play it? I did see Jaden Phillips sometimes go back in coverage. Are we going to be doing the same thing with Chop and Kamara? I am interested to see what the linebacker group will look like. So,
okay. I mean, me personally, nothing surprises me either per se, but I do want to see how it all just comes together. And we'll see how it comes together week 1 against the Jaguars. Not the highest litmus test, but, solid pieces. Evan Ingram, Travis Etienne. Like I told you earlier, I'm high on Brian Thomas. I think he'll be good. I think the offensive line is not the best, but it's not the worst. And same thing with Trevor Lawrence, not the best, but not the worst. So it'll be a good test week 1. See where you stand early. And as far as some other moves go, let's just get into some of these moves that was made on the practice squad. So I said earlier, Tim Boyle was brought in. What I didn't say was receiver Robbie Chosen has been brought back to the team, along with another receiver called D. Eskridge. And a defensive tackle was also brought in as well, Naquan Jones. So any of these moves you like?
Who it was, I'm sorry?
The defensive tackle's named Naquan Jones, and the two receivers is Robbie Chosen and D. Eskridge.
Oh, Dwayne Eskridge from the Seahawks?
Yeah, they call him D. Eskridge, though.
Okay. So, I mean, Daquan Jones, his name sounds familiar. I can't really pin where I heard his name at right now. But Damn, I know him. Trust me, I know him. I just can't remember right now. But D. Eskridge, I am excited to see what he can do because he was a very exciting he was a very exciting receiver type. He was the type of guy that is really good in space, could really be good in the kick return game. So I am excited and interested to see what he could bring in. Robbie Chosen, like I always talk about familiarity. It's interesting to see what he could do as well and bring in for the squad. So I just want to keep my hopes up. Don't really count too many people out. And I do want to, feel as if we're going to come in and bring something in that will benefit the team as a whole, rather than just getting pieces and just trying to fit them all in and not really being clear cut with what we want to do and what we got going on. So I'm interested to see what we do with Dwayne Eskridge. I do like the Robbie Chosen signing again. It just shows that, man, if we ain't gonna do anything with our receivers, we gonna burn
you. Right.
So it's interesting to see, and I'm really excited to see what we do.
Right. And as far as that goes, man, I mean, out of all of the names that I gave, I think Robbie Chosen is the most decorated name there, as well as he's the most proven talent, and he has a familiarity with the team already. So I think that is a plus. And then let's get into some of these other players that was signed to the practice squad as well. So the other players that was signed: Nick Needham, Isaiah Johnson, another defensive back, and safety Jordan Colbert. Jonathan Harris is also signed to the practice squad along with Eric Uzukama and Hayden Retchie. And Chasing
Hayden Retchie is the rookie tight end.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So it's good to see they trying to keep some of this talent together as much as possible. But again, like I said, I think guys like Eric Uzukama, Nick Needham, I think as the season progresses, if these guys aren't elevated on a weekly basis, they are going to be,
picked up by somebody else.
Yeah, someone else is going to pick them up. I truly believe that. So I think the Dolphins are just, pretty much trying to have best of both worlds. I just don't know how long that can pan out. But you got anything else you want to add, my boy? And are you playing the fantasy league this year?
Yeah, I'm playing. I'm in there.
All right. Did you see the what's the name? I sent the invite.
I had to open my phone to see. But yeah, I'm joining them, man. I'm taking all the Dolphins, so don't even look for them.
All right. But yeah, I sent an invite into the group chat, trying to get that started up soon. For sure. But anything else you want to add though before we head out? Because we almost at that hour mark.
No, I'm pretty much dead set on what we was talking about.
All right, cool. So that'll be it for the show, guys. Appreciate y'all tuning in always. Be sure to drop a like, subscribe, and hit the bell for YouTube so you always be notified when we do go live. If you aren't already, go ahead, follow on Facebook, follow on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I'm everywhere, man. Just look up the name Last Word Productions. I promise you'll see me there. And anything else you want to say before we head out, my boy?
Follow Last Word. Fans for the win. You know what it is, man. Yep. That's all it is.
All right, y'all. Peace.
Peace.